No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good morning, Winnipeg. Good morning, Manitoba. For all those joining us live on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good morning, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show brought to you by Betway with Dave Manouk. And I promise you, folks, Ezzy was here literally when I started the show. I pressed the button that said start the show. Ezzy was there, and then poof. I'm not sure what happened to Ezzy, Dave. He's at your house, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Did he have a malfunction with the computer junction?
His computer shut off, so he was just he was here, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. So we're not sure where he is, but once again, we've lost Ginsburg.
Exactly. Hopefully our friends at Grid Park can find him this time, but I know I saw him on the screen, so hopefully he'll pop back in and join us in a couple minutes time as soon as he gets over those computer hiccups that just sort of randomly occurred. Dave, this is, a hockey game that I don't think any of us are going to ever remember as it being a Picasso, or a hockey game that we're ever going to remember as something that was particularly enjoyable. But at the end of the day, it's a 3-2 overtime victory for the Winnipeg Jets, and that's really what matters most for the fans of the team and for the guys in the dressing room. A victory that, it was a bit of a slog throughout the entirety of the 60 minutes. Yeah. Down 2 goals. In the first period, they stuck with it, and they got better as the game went on, from my estimation. And this is a Coyotes team that is really just always sort of holding on for dear life, even in the games that they win. It's not like this is a team that's got much talent or that's got much quality on it. You hear the names that are being called by our buddy Dan Robertson on the broadcast, and it's a who's who of let's who? Remember it's a who's who of let's remember some guys who you didn't think were still in the NHL. I mean, Zach Kassian's getting regular minutes for this Coyotes team, which should tell you everything you need to know about what their lot is like in the Central Division and in the NHL, and what their goals are this season.
Well, I will say this: if anybody questions hockey in the desert, you shouldn't question those fans, because those 5,000 people, however many there were, and obviously there were a lot of Jets fans, and we heard it from them. Here's Ezzy's in the chat. We're going to add him back. But I will say this,
boys.
Ezzy, we're welcome back. Hold on, let me just get this thought, and then we'll jump you back in. But I was just going to say, the fact that they sat through that freaking snooze fest for that long, I mean, those people deserve kudos, because the hair puns and the mullets must have been worth it, because that game was not exciting for at least 80-90% of it. It was painful to watch at times, and so give those people credit for going to Mullet Arena and checking out a hockey game.
Well, boys, what the heck did we just watch?
We watched a bad hockey game between a very bad Arizona Coyotes team and a Winnipeg Jets team that is, I mean, frankly, look, they get 2 points out of it. So you can't criticize them or anything else on the second half of a back-to-back. If you can get 2 points, then they get full marks. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't like they're going to take
the third period was absolutely dominated by the Jets. For the Coyotes to put out that type of performance in front of their whatever crowd you want to call it, home crowd, I guess, temporary home crowd, let's call it that, to put up 2 shots in the third period against a team that's in the second game of a back-to-back. And I agree with you, Drew. Dave and I were sitting here watching it, and we're thinking, the Coyotes just are giving the Jets every opportunity on the power play to tie this game up and then, take the lead. The Jets could have easily had 4 or 5 goals in this game. But just unbelievable. I'm sure we're going to get into the Mullet Arena here, but what an absolute joke. I don't care how you want to spin this. There's nothing about this to me that is going to make this not a joke. It's a new arena and, it's fun and everything like that, but there wasn't even a goal horn when Christian Fischer scored. He scored a goal and it was just silence. Was there even music? I don't even think there was music, Drew.
I think it was a technical glitch on the first one because I thought I heard music and a goal horn when Fisher scored the second goal for the Coyotes. But you're absolutely right, Ezzy. When he scored when he opened the scoring, and we'll get into the goals when we get into the game Betway game recap. When he scored the first goal, and then it was just sort of utter silence. I'm like, what the hell is
it's
going
like
on?
If you don't have a goal horn, just like get an air horn or something. Like, just get something. Like, go to a hardware store and get a cowbell. Like, I don't know if they sell cowbells at hardware stores, but just get something to make some noise when your team scores. Like, it was so weird. I've never seen that before.
Look, you're in Arizona. They have open carry laws. They could just have somebody pop off a few rounds in the arena and then use that as the goal horn. No, too soon. Not. But
we also all of a sudden got a lot of listeners that are members of the NRA here, Drew.
It was a bizarre atmosphere, and you're absolutely right, Ezzy. The NHL is going to try and spin it any which way they can, but the question you would have to ask yourself, Dave, and we'll get into the game momentarily because we don't want to, punching down on the Coyotes is something that's pretty easy to do.
Well, also the Saturday show starts in 3 hours.
That's true, exactly right. The Saturday show starts in 3 hours, but you just have to say to yourself, would any other league of the big four, quote unquote, the NBA, the Major League Baseball, the NFL, would any of the other three big leagues do anything similar to this?
No.
The closest thing I can remember is when the Montreal Expos were on their last gasps in Montreal, and then they played a whole bunch of games per year in Puerto Rico. You remember that? Where they played in Puerto Rico. I don't know if it was 10 games or 20 games, but even that was
Andres Galarraga, baby.
I think that was after the Big Cats time, but that's the only thing that is sort of reminiscent that jumps to my mind of what you're seeing there in that arena. And look, it might be a fun atmosphere. I don't dispute that. You put enough people in a small barn, tonight was probably a fun atmosphere. But I don't think they're going to get 5,000 every game. And I think,
and not only that, like it's a fun atmosphere, but it's still in a college rink. Like, this is the best league in the world. That's what kept going through my mind.
I don't know, Ezzy,
like,
you watched that game. Is it really the best league in the world?
Well, the Coyotes probably are more of like an ECHL team at this point. Like, and boy, do they miss Nick Schmaltz and Jacob Chychrun. I realize Chychrun is a guy that they want to trade, or at least he wants to get the hell out of there. But, Nick Schmaltz is, probably their second best player after Clayton Keller. Where was Clayton Keller in this game?
Well,
I'm a big Keller guy, by the way. Like, I really like Keller. But I barely noticed him in this game.
Well, that he's just got to be bored with, this is just such a trying season for anybody who's got any talent, on that Coyotes roster. And Clayton Keller is a guy who's already established himself. So some of the other younger players who have talent on that team, and there are some, but those guys are rookies or they're second year players, and they're just really trying to, it's not as big of a slog for them because they're still just happy to be there to some extent. Whereas Clayton Keller has got to be saying, I signed up for how many more years of this utter rebuild nonsense? And
also, sorry to interrupt you, Owen. You just had it up there, Drew. I'm not sure if you put it up or Dave put it up.
Dave did.
Owen was mentioning the Irish spelling of Owen, by the way. He was mentioning TCF Bank Stadium. We went to a bunch of games. That was a nice stadium, though. I feel there was like 40,000. What was the capacity? 40?
No, 55.
It's 55.
College football stadium is no comparison to this.
No, this is like,
I think they're going from unusual.
This is the Jets playing at Wayne Fleming Arena. That's what this is.
That's right. That's a fair assessment. That's exactly right. This is the Jets playing where the Ice play, on a regular basis, or the U of M Bison's team. In any event, let's get into the game recap brought to you by our friends at Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront. As you well know, they are also the title sponsor of the Illegal Curve postgame show, with a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. It would be a bit of an interesting start to this one, a bit of an interesting atmosphere. And the Coyotes, they tried to hype it up. They brought out the wrestling ring announcer from AEW. Admittedly, that name that it didn't really resonate with me, but if it resonated with other people,
Michael Buffer, right, Drew?
Well, if they brought out Michael Buffer, it doesn't really matter to me. It's
or even Bruce Buffer.
You could bring out Bruce Buffer if you want. In any event, whatever, they tried to have a little bit of glitz and glamour, and I'll give them an A for effort on that front. And look, the Coyotes themselves started the game off for their home fans the way they wanted it to. They were, certainly equal to the Jets, probably better than the Jets for a lot of that first period, and then they were rewarded by getting the first goal of the game, the aforementioned hornless goal by Christian Fischer, his second of the year, assist to Troy Stetcher and Patrick Nemeth. Talk about play. Just let's name some guys who youth probably thought retired out of the NHL a couple years ago.
It's a video game roster. That's what I was telling Dave. Like, you're watching these guys being introduced, and granted, we should mention that Chychrun and Schmaltz, like, these guys they're top players.
Yeah, those
right?
are
Aside
key,
from
those
Clayton
are core
Keller,
players.
they're key guys.
Yeah,
but like it's like an expansion roster, but like a bad expansion roster, right? Yeah. Like, and sorry, Drew, I'll let you get back to the first goal by Christian Fischer, but talking to Dave, like, whether it's I forget if it was the second period or third period here, and like, how are you not like doing everything you can to squeeze an extra point for Vermelka? Like, Vermelka was the only reason this game was tied and went to overtime, right? Like, he stood on his head in the third period. Like, how many good quality chances did the Jets have in front of him? And all they could muster up was a couple of shots. Like, it was just pathetic. But you're right. I mean, you score the first 2 goals of the game in the first period, and then you basically don't do anything else for the rest of the game. Like, they didn't have very many scoring chances in the second period either. So just a horrible hockey team that's obviously trying to tank for Bedard.
Exactly. They're just trying to hold on for dear life after they got the 2-goal lead. Kenny's water bottle, I just want to address this, asks what was with the Fear the Fork, the Arizona State Sun Devils. So their logo is a little devil holding up the pitchfork. So that's why Fear the Fork. And it should be noted the Arizona State University has a decent hockey program. So that's why they have that arena there.
Shane Doan's kid is the captain. He dropped the puck.
You saw him there introduced at the start of the game.
I think he's the captain, right? Is he the captain of...
I believe ASU? So. He's the senior there. I think he's a captain. That's the genesis for why the arena was built in the first place, is because they actually have a hockey program at Arizona State University at Division I, and they're not in a conference. I don't believe. I think they're not in a conference. They're trying to get back into a conference in the NCAA hockey world, but at least that's why they have the arena. So there is some.
It's as you mentioned, Drew. It's a new hockey program. I don't know. I want to say it's like a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, something like that.
I think it's more than that now. I think it might be.
Is it? Okay.
5 to 10, but not important. Anyways, okay. Christian Fischer opens the scoring at the 10-17 mark, and it's just a case of, throw the puck on the net, and good things are going to happen. And that's exactly what happens. Troy Stetcher just sort of takes a bit of a wild shot from the point, Dave, and Fischer gets to the front of the net probably about a half a step or a quarter a step ahead of Blake Wheeler, and the puck sort of just deflects off of Fischer. It's nothing pretty about it. It's just a good ricochet, a good bounce, and that gives the Coyotes the early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and you would think that the coverage was pretty good. I mean, Schmidt and Dillon had their guys in front. Wheeler was a step too slow in that regard, and you could see it developing. And he recognized too late that Fischer was, not beside him anymore. And next thing you see is, and that's what happens, right? That's that little thing Drew mentions more than anyone, attention to detail. And one of those instances where Blake Wheeler was caught unaware, and as a result, the puck ends up in the back of the net, and it gives some life to the building, which already had some good life and good energy. And you like to hear it, right? Like I said, we've been to games at UND, and that's one of the best college atmospheres, in the country.
Stetcher played too, right, Dave?
Exactly. And so you hear the chanting, and you hear the as he highlighted his the guy drinking the beers and pouring it, guzzling it down his throat. So I mean, there was a lot of fun there. And, obviously with the Jets, you hear the True North chant. So the building had a good vibe from what we could hear, and so that kind of got things going. Of course, it deflates some Jets fans, but the Coyotes kind of get their crowd going with the absence, of course, as he pointed out, of a goal horn to really kind of punctuate it. But hey, it's not a cannon. They could at least, like as he said, get something to indicate, hey, there's something of significance. Even when, and I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, we were talking about when Cole Perfetti thought he scored. I was like, normally, and Ed said this to me on the couch. He's like, well, why? How are they going to alert the teams that there's, that they're reviewing this? I mean, if they think there's a goal, they're going to stop the play. How do they stop the play if there's no horn with which to stop the play? So, I mean, you could, as he's right, get one of those little boat air horns there. You can buy them fairly inexpensively at a hardware store. So
I'm pretty sure at the Bomber game tonight, they'll the people that were at the Bombers game, there's probably a vuvuzela, at least one or two they could borrow and maybe sound those off instead if they need to, if they can't get a goal horn. Congratulations to the Bombers, of course, on their victory tonight, 15-3 record in what was a meaningless game tonight against the BC Lions. Not bad. West Final up next in November. I'll be there. I'm not sure.
More importantly, let's just give a shout out to the fact that we're approaching 300 people right now joining us at 12:30 in the morning to discuss this Jets game. I mean, that's a kudos to all the people who are in the chat right now. Big thanks to you guys.
Exactly right. And stay tuned, folks, because will have the unique code word of the night.
It's a harder one tonight, folks. You're not going to get it. It's not going to be something cliche like mullet. Please.
No, Dave. The
unique word is mullet, isn't it?
It's mullet.
No, it's not. Dave put in a lot of effort, a lot of time and effort on creating tonight's code word. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere, and we'll.
Dave was like rifling through the Oxford Dictionary, like it's crazy.
That's true. He worked hard to find this word, so just hang tight. We're going to put it up on the screen in a little bit, and then you can enter it in for your chance to get entered to win some of the great merchandise that we give away here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Yes, do as Corey May says to do. Smash the like button, tap the thumbs up button, whatever you want to say, do that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to all the podcasts wherever you get it, and of course keep visiting us online, illegalcurve.com, and follow all our social media. You get bonus entries for doing that. So 1-0 for the Coyotes about halfway through the first period. They make it 2-0 about 5 minutes later. It's Christian Fischer again, right off the draw. It's a clean face-off win, something that they touched on the broadcast a fair bit. The Jets' struggles in the face-off dot so far this season. It's a clean win. Jack McBain is the one who wins the draw, brings it back to Fischer, and he beats Dave Riddick with the shot. Probably one I think that Riddick would want back. It wasn't the best play shot I've ever seen, but certainly effective enough to give the Coyotes a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, first off, you've got a comment up there. Either, I don't put up the comment, so it was either Dave or Drew that put it up there. I'm not sure who did. Doesn't really matter. It was Bardot or Bardot. Just referenced the old barn. I remember playing for the River Heights Cardinals, because Selkirk obviously has a new arena now. It's a really nice arena where the Steelers play. But if he's referencing the old barn where like the corners were almost like, it was like square corners. So if you shot the puck into the corner, it would just like die. So I actually remember as like a 12 or 13-year-old kid playing in that old barn. I just had to get that in there because somebody put that comment up, and that gave me great memories of the old barn in Selkirk. It's a set play, Drew, right on the second goal by Christian Fischer. Also, we got to give a shout out to Andrew McBain of the Jets 1.0. Jack McBain is his kid, right? So if anybody was wondering, if that is Andrew McBain's kid, it is. And it's a set play. Like that's what a center and a winger dream of, right? Mm-hmm. Like that clean win. And Christian Fischer is just in the perfect position at the top of the circle. But you're right. I mean, that's probably one David Riddick would like to have back. It wasn't like an unstoppable shot or anything like that. But you got to give the Coyotes credit there. It's just a really nice play that that's the type of thing you practice all the time, and it just worked out perfectly there. And it looked like at one point Fischer was even going to get the hat trick. But really, after that goal, they sagged, right? Like it was all Jets the last, 3 or 4 minutes of the first period, and they continued it into the second period. But that was a nice goal there for sure.
Well, I don't think you can overstate the impact of the Jets' first goal, Dave, which comes 26 seconds after the Coyotes make it 2-0. They're feeling good about themselves. The Jets' second half of a back-to-back, all those excuses are getting ready to be trotted out, you think. But then Cole Perfetti with just a wonderful individual effort. And he had a terrific game for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Probably I think maybe the best game he's played this season, off the top of my head. If I'm wrong or somebody disagrees, by all means, tell me that I'm wrong.
That was probably his best, at the very least, Drew, that was probably his finest individual play of the season, because he created that whole thing. That was all him.
It's all him. He just forces the turnover, takes the puck, doesn't settle for a shot from the outside, and just drives hard to the net and demonstrates just the beautiful hands that he has, the soft touch, the goal scorer's touch. Dave gets his third of the year and cuts the lead from 2-0 to 2-1. Like I said, 26 seconds later, 26 seconds after the Coyotes had opened that 2-goal lead.
Yeah, and one of the things we talk about with Cole Perfetti is his need. People say, "Oh, is he strong enough to play in the NHL?" Well, that was a pretty good forecheck that he led into the Coyote zone. And I don't remember who the really smart, handsome analyst who said Cole Perfetti would replace the offense lost by Andrew Kopp this
Ken Wiebe.
season.
It was Ken Wiebe who said it.
I don't think so. But the point is that look,
let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
I know. As I said to Ezzy right after I finished patting myself on the back with that. I mean, look, it's early in the season.
You said 45 to 50 points, I think, in the over/under segment, right?
I don't remember.
I think that's what I said.
I don't remember. But anyways, point is, he's looking good, right? He's got 3 goals, 3 assists in 8 games for Winnipeg, and he's doing what you wanted him to do. And one of the things we saw him do in the AHL when he turned pro was the fact that he would be a perimeter player. He wouldn't go to the hard areas to start his career as a pro. And essentially all of his points were from the outside. And, especially on the power play and that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden a switch went off and he started going towards the middle. He started going to the front of the net. He started going to the spots where goal scorers go to create offense for themselves. And I'm not saying you're already seeing it now, but you are starting to see a little bit of a change, I think, in Cole Perfetti. We saw it tonight. I think he was probably the Jets' most dangerous player for, again, they didn't control the game by any stretch of the imagination, but it was, I think there were a lot of instances where Cole Perfetti created offense, and that's what you want to see him do. He's not a complimentary player on that line now. He's actually a player who's driving, and if he can do that sort of thing, and that comment that Drew just put up about him being cerebral is absolutely true, and that's why he's able to sometimes offset some of his limitations because of that ability of his brain to anticipate and to be in the right spot. What's that?
Visceral. Love that word. Cerebral. Kind of like visceral.
Yes. I mean, it has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Not the same word.
No, I don't think he's saying they're the same. He's saying that he likes that word, Drew.
Oh, okay. Those are just two words that you like that sort of have the same.
I like the word cornucopia too. I mean, it has no relevance to this particular conversation, but a good word, cornucopia.
So
this is what happens. This is what happens when we do 2 straight shows that are at 20 minutes to 1 in the morning. Correct. It just starts rattling off words that have nothing to do with anything.
Keep in mind, right? Like I checked my CPAP machine, and I think I got 4 hours and 50 minutes of sleep or something. So we're already sleep deprived. Tomorrow's show is going to just be like, I don't know. Like I'm just going to black
tomorrow,
out.
My friend, it's not tomorrow. It's
like
starting in 8 hours and 20 minutes.
Half an hour.
It's not tomorrow. It's coming soon. Anyways, 2-1 for the Coyotes after 20 minutes. Where Cole Perfetti, the Jets have to sort of be not happy with their performance in that first period, but probably reasonably okay with the fact that they're only down a goal. Because they know that they have more talent than the Arizona Coyotes do. And then you saw that disparity in talent really reflect itself as the second period went on, and as that third period went on. A lot of the stuff for the Winnipeg Jets, though, was to the outside. It was to the outside. They weren't able to get really interior chances. And Karel Vejmelka, whatever you want to say about him as a goaltender, he's a little bit non-traditional in how he approaches it. But
he also only plays well against the Jets, apparently.
And the Leafs. Remember they beat Toronto in Toronto earlier this year already. But it seems like he's a decent enough goalie when the plays to the outside, like most of these goalies in the NHL, at the NHL caliber. If it's to the outside and they can see the shot, they're likely, for the most part, going to make the save. So the Jets, you knew that, the second period was, god awful. It's hard to.
It really was. It really
how
was.
awful that hockey was in the second period.
And it's not like the first period was a barn burner either, Drew. Right? like the first period, the Jets, I want to say they had like 2 shots on net through the first 10 minutes or something, which you would kind of expect, second game of a back-to-back. But as opposed to how you expect a team to kind of sag and lose energy and lose emotion as the game progressed, the Jets actually did the inverse, right? Like they got better as the game progressed. And yeah, there's no doubt that, the second period for both teams was not great, but I would probably, give the edge to the Jets. I'm just looking at the possession here. I think it was 67% at even strength. So it was clearly in favor of the Jets. There weren't a lot of grade A chances that I can remember, but I can remember Pierre-Luc Dubois having a lot of good scoring chances in this game in tight. It seemed like Pierre-Luc Dubois was really able to do whatever the hell he wanted to do in this game. I'm just checking how many shots he had. He was credited with 4, I believe. It seemed like he had at least 7 or 8 shot attempts. I'd have to check, but so I thought that line was good again. And we have to mention, the Dubois-Scheifele switch, right? Which I don't even think was mentioned on the broadcast. How often do we see that, right? And I don't really think it means anything. Like, I don't think, Dubois is now, the number one center, with Connor and Ehlers, I guess Appleton now. But clearly, it impacted the game. And, Dubois was rewarded because I thought he was easily one of the best Jets tonight.
He I don't know that, the switch certainly seemed like it was a timely decision by, is he interim coach or temporary coach Scott Arniel? I'm really not sure what his title is, because he's been the head coach, more often than not, certainly this year. But it was a timely decision, Dave, to make that swap, because it seemed to the Jets had been struggling on the power play. The power play was anemic again. You could see it was predictable. It was a little bit boring at times, and again, it was all to the perimeter for the most part. But then they switched that, and that sort of seemed like it gave the Jets a little bit of juice, in that third period. And they had, as much as they controlled the second period, and they did, they were the better of the two teams in the second period, certainly possession wise, as he touched on, 68% to 32%. Even in the third, I thought that switch really made a difference, because it seemed like the entire third period the ice was tilted in the Jets' favor, and the Coyotes, well, I mean, I've never seen a team. Well, I mean, I've seen a team, but it's just remarkable to watch a team that just has no interest at all in trying to do anything on the offensive side of the game, Dave.
It's a bad hockey team.
I'll tell you why, because they want Bedard. I mean, what do you like? I don't blame him. Like, he may want to go to Vancouver, but they're like, no. You're coming to the desert. Come to us. Look, I mean, it was not a good hockey game to watch. It really wasn't from any real perspective, because you're sitting there and you're thinking, what? I mean, I said to Ezzy, what the hell, after that second period, what exactly are we going to talk about on the show? Like, nothing. It was like a show about nothing. And, this show is sometimes a show about nothing, but I didn't think we'd be able to do an hour of we probably could do a show about nothing for an hour, but the reality is we don't want people to have to be subjected to a show about nothing for an hour. So, I mean, you're sitting there from a Jets point of view, and you do like one thing I said to Ezzy, like, Kyle Connor traditionally in the last 5 seasons has shot at 15%. His goal scoring percentage is 15%. And this year he's at 4.3. Now that's going to go up, of course, because he's snake bit. It's inevitable. But he and Pierre-Luc Dubois did have a lot of chemistry last year. And so maybe that swap of getting those guys back together is going to ignite Kyle Connor. And defensively, Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele is still, even though Mark Scheifele has definitely improved, you still don't love that. So you're thinking maybe Dubois with Scheifele, with Connor, is going to be a better duo than Connor and Scheifele. So I kind of like the swap. I think we'll see if it holds up for Sunday in Vegas. The Jets schedule is to be determined for tomorrow. So we don't know if they're going to actually practice or if they're going to just take the day off after 2 games today. They might have.
I think they take the day off, right,
sure
Dave? Like,
I
would imagine, but
especially with the overtime and everything, like
for sure. And obviously Connor Hellebuck got a lot of shots on Thursday night, right? He took 44 shots on net, so I would imagine they'll probably take tomorrow off. I'm just saying that.
Let the boys hit the strip, right?
Officially,
they've won 2 games in a row. They deserve it.
Yeah, well, they won 3 games in a row.
Sorry, 3 games in a row. 2 games on the road to start.
That's right. So the point is that I'm just saying officially right now it is to be determined what their plan is for tomorrow. But I mean, it was definitely an interesting affair tonight, nonetheless.
So 2-1 for Arizona still after the 40 minutes. And then Mark Scheifele at the 8:34 mark of the third period gives the Jets the all-important equalizer, assist to Blake Wheeler and Josh Morrissey. And you felt like it was coming because they had so much zone time and they had so much possession. I mean, the possession in the third period was a wild disparity. It was, if you thought it was bad in the second period at 68% to 32%, how about 78% to 22% for the Jets' favor in that third period? A third period where the Coyotes got a grand total of 2 shots to the Jets' 13. But Mark Scheifele finally ties it up for the Winnipeg Jets. This comes at the 8:34 mark of the third period as his 6th assisted Blake Wheeler and Josh Morrissey. Much needed goal for the Winnipeg Jets as they were a little bit, they had power play opportunities that they weren't able to capitalize on at all, as the Coyotes took a holding penalty and then quickly took a too many men on the ice penalty. The Coyotes were doing everything to give it to the Jets, and the Jets finally were able to take advantage and tie the game at that 8:34 mark.
Yeah, and I agree with what you were saying, Drew. Like the power play, there's still something not quite right with the power play. Like they're getting the good looks and the good cliche lanes and everything like that. But to me, it seems like they're misfiring and missing the net a lot. Like more so than, we joke about, certain guys missing the net, like Dylan DeMello, yesterday. But I mean, it seems like Ehlers is the obvious one that's not out there on PP1 or PP2, even though he obviously should be and will be on PP1. But I think I might have to PP actually. But when you're talking about, I had quite a bit of Diet Coke right before we came on. But look at, what I like about this goal, and again, I always like, we talked about the set goal, like the Christian Fischer goal. There's not a lot you can talk about leading up to that. But what I like is Mark Scheifele, takes a bit of a bump from watching the replay here, and he takes a little bit of interference. Shane Gostisbehere loses his stick here, and what I like about that is Scheifele. The thing with Scheifele is, even though we talk about how his defensive game has to improve, and it does. I mean, you like to see him, winning battles and fighting through things, right, and earning his space on the ice, not just with his speed, but in this particular case, he fights through a little bit of a interference from Gostisbehere, and then he just goes to the net. And Josh Morrissey just puts it on net. Or pardon me, Brendan Dillon. No, it's Morrissey, right? Was it Morrissey or Dillon?
No, Morrissey. Dillon was involved. Is the one who got it over to Morrissey.
I had the replay and then I closed my tab there. But
at least your computer didn't shut down again.
Yeah, just a.
We thought you were drinking tab.
Nice rebound, but I just liked Scheifele's game tonight. Like not only was he noticeable. He was generating a lot of offense. He was skating, and you expected tonight's game, I think, to have that natural sag. But the third period was like the Kings dominated the Jets in the first period last night, right? Mm-hmm. That was honestly what it kind of felt like. I mean, at no point did you think the Coyotes, were going to score a goal, let alone win this game, right? So, I just like Scheifele's work on that goal. And they were rewarded because, as you mentioned, Drew, the Jets were all over, and it was just a matter of time after the Coyotes, gave them whatever it was, the third or fourth power play of the period. You kind of got the feeling that the Jets were going to finally bury one.
It was sort of Dave.
Sorry, Drew. I just let me quickly jump in because I just want to add something. Josh Morrissey quietly up to 8 assists in 8 games already. Like I said to Ezzy, like I was like, I didn't notice that I was looking at the Jets stats before the game started, and I didn't realize Josh Morrissey had 7 in 7 games. And I was like, well, what? And, obviously we make the joke, he's on pace for 82 assists this season, similar to, Mark Scheifele now with 6 goals in 8 games on pace for a 60 plus goal campaign. But the interesting thing to me about Morrissey is that, his career high, I think, was 26 in 2019-20. So he's contributing, and we knew that, obviously he does a lot, but that's a significant number. I mean, to have 8 assists already in the leading the scoring for the Jets, it's an impressive mark for Josh Morrissey, who, has to, I mean, you see it, like he got the stick in the ribs, or the cross check, I should say, by Cassian, which obviously Brendan Dillon didn't like very much. And you could kind of see Morrissey a couple times was winded because, I mean, they're relying on him big time. Right. So, the assist.
What is Cassian doing there?
Well, that's a good
question. What is he doing?
He's doing exactly it's the only thing he can do. I mean, what do you want from him? I don't fault
an idiot. Like that, so I guess that's what he does. He's an idiot.
When hasn't he been an idiot on the ice? He's been an idiot on the ice for many years.
He actually can score, though. I want to say his career high in the NHL is like 15 or 20 goals.
Well, I mean, come on.
He actually does have talent, but that was just stupid. Like, it was like Brendan. Same thing with Brendan Lemieux on Scheifele yesterday. Stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I don't dispute that it's stupid, but Zach Cassian at this point in his career doesn't have anything else in his toolbox to try and make an impact on the game. I mean, that's just who he is. I mean, he's on the last. I mean, if it wasn't for this Coyotes team, like deliberately trying to be as terrible as they can, he would not be in the NHL anymore. So he's happy to take a paycheck and occasionally cross-check another guy. And
this is it for Zach Cassian. I don't think any multi-year deal is coming for Cassian from any team. Maybe if the NHL gets a 33rd franchise.
Yeah, well, so 2-2 after the Scheifele goal, and the Jets had plenty of opportunities to win it in regulation. They were all over the Coyotes, and if it wasn't for Vejmelka, and Kyle Connor continues to be snake bit like nobody's business, and it's going to break through for him eventually. That it's going to. But if it wasn't for Vejmelka making the one that jumps to mind, the goal mouth scramble with about 10 seconds to go in the game, he makes a really nice save on Mason Appleton.
Yeah.
On Mason Appleton, where he sort of just kicks out the leg at the last minute as Appleton thinks he's going to be able to shove one into the open net and give the Jets a victory in regulation. But Vejmelka stands up and steals, gets his team to overtime, where anything can happen in 3-on-3 overtime. And the Coyotes really had the first opportunity in overtime. They got possession, and when Scheifele blew that tire, you're like, oh boy, here comes something bad coming the other way. And to David Riddick's
credit, then you remembered it's the Coyotes.
Well, I mean, fair enough, as I can accept that. But to David Riddick's credit, and this is not a guy who he faced 2 shots in the third period. He faced 9 shots in the second period. I don't remember any of them of being significant quality. But he stood in there. He made that big save, and there was no rebound. And for him, after a rough start to tonight's game, and after a rough start in Vegas, it's good for him to get his first win as a member of the Winnipeg Jets, and that happened as a result at the 32-second mark, where Blake Wheeler, gets the goal off of a Pierre-Luc Dubois. He forces the turnover on Shane Gostisbehere, breaks in 2-on-1. And just with a very pretty feed over to Wheeler, and Wheeler makes no mistake beating Vejmelka in that situation to make it a 3-2 win for the Jets, Ezzy.
Yeah, Shane Gostisbehere, the reason why he was traded by the Philadelphia Flyers was on display there, because Gostisbehere is a nice puck-moving defenseman who can contribute on your power play, but
you have to have better. You have to have better presence as to what the situation is at that point.
Yeah, and you got to give a lot of credit to PLD. I mentioned earlier, I thought he was one of the best Jets forwards, along with Scheifele, along with Perfetti. Appleton had a good game as well. But yeah, this is just a great steal. Like it's a pick. It's a pick, pick 6 if you want to call it that. We're talking about the Bombers win earlier, right? So why not call it a pick 6?
Sure.
But it's just a great use of a 2-on-1. But yeah, that's just a horrible play, horrible decision by Gostisbehere there. Just he didn't have control of the puck, and it was just a nice takeaway from PLD, a nice pass. And we talked about Kyle Connor's goal struggles, right? Like Blake Wheeler isn't exactly lighting it up either, right? So it's nice for him to get the game-winning goal.
Well, that's his first goal. That wasn't.
I thought exactly.
His first goal that wasn't into an empty net this year.
Right. So, just nice way to end the game. The Jets deserve that extra point. Anybody who watched that game tonight, aside from the first 3 quarters of the first period, which were pretty awful for the Jets, as you said, Drew, earlier, the Cole Perfetti goal gave them a ton of life, gave them a ton of confidence going into the second period. And again, good for PLD. He's had a few giveaways, including last night against the Kings. So, I got to give PLD credit. He had a monster of a game tonight, and Wheeler for finishing. But that was about as aside from Dylan DeMello's open night last night, that was a pretty easy one for Wheeler to put in.
3 straight victories for the Winnipeg Jets. They're now 5-3 on the season. And we'll talk about this extensively on this morning's Illegal Curve Hockey Show coming up in about 8 hours and 5 minutes. We'll talk about this Jets start to the season, because we said it before the season began that the Jets can't clinch a playoff spot in the month of October, but they could play themselves into behind the 8 ball, or play themselves to really have an uphill battle. And right now, 5 wins, 3 losses with 1 more game to go in this month. You can't take that away from them, certainly, and not without some adversity as well. No Nikolai Ehlers for a lot of it. And of course, their head coach, Rick Bowness, has only been behind the bench for 1 game, Dave.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think I saw yesterday was the strength of schedule, right? And you kind of alluded to that just now, Drew, but behind the Jets had the second hardest strength of schedule to start the season behind the Calgary Flames. Now the Calgary Flames have shown that they have no problem with their strength of schedule. So, but the Jets too, to their credit, and we talked about it, and we said this could end up being really bad for them, right? Look, LA is whatever they are, but they
were a playoff team last year.
I was going to say they're a playoff team last year, and they dominated the Jets for most of that game. and you don't apologize. I've said, how many times have I said that? You don't apologize for having one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. So, I mean, that's one of the Jets' strengths. So you're not going to lament it. It's just the reality for them. Ultimately, you're 5-3, having played some very good hockey teams. And if you can somehow, some way, come away with either a win or points against the Vegas Golden Knights, who beat up on the Anaheim Ducks tonight 4-0. I mean, that is a hell of a good way to start the road trip. And then you come home, and I can't remember how many they play in Winnipeg. I think is it 2 in Winnipeg before they go back on the road? I can't remember.
They have
Montreal on Thursday, Chicago. And then Chicago.
Yeah, so it's 2, right?
It's 2, but I think the next week they also still might be at home. But I'll double check when we go.
We're just trying to focus on October / the beginning of November. We're not into the mid part of the month, but the fact is that that they get a little, again, you can't take your foot off the gas. You can't take a sigh and okay, we're through that. I mean, ultimately you have to because they still have a lot, as all the folks in the chat have realized, or have pointed out, I should say. They still got a lot to work on. They've still got a lot of improvements to make. And now it's good that you've gotten the wins. It's good that you've done it without Nikolai Ehlers, but ultimately you still have, your power play needs to be better. Some of your 5-on-5 play needs to be better. Passing needs to be better. So there's a lot for this Jets club to continue to work on, but you've put yourself into a good position.
That you have, when we come back, the unique code word we give away. We announced yesterday's winner. We give a Tough Duck Toque away. Many more giveaways, much more analysis to come.
And then I go to
anywhere. And then as you can go to bed.
Not at my house, though.
Are you sure? I thought he was sleeping over tonight.
I didn't set the.
No, we agreed, Dave. I'm going to sleep on the front lawn.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
Wouldn't be the first time wouldn't be the first time you slept and or passed out on someone's front lawn, but that's a separate issue entirely. It's the Illegal Curve post game show. It's a couple minutes before 1:00. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the unique code word to enter for the Illegal Curve merchandise contest.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
There's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. Shortly after 1 a.m, welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on this Saturday morning. Reminder, in less than 8 hours' time, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show back on here on our YouTube channel. The three of us will be joined by Jesse Pollock of TSN's Bar Down to talk about the Jets, and Daniel Fink to talk about the Manitoba Moose broadcaster to talk about the Moose. So be sure to set your alarms after you go to bed late tonight, be up early tomorrow. Pour yourself a coffee. Join us for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show coming up in a little less than 8 hours' time.
I'm pretty sure 7 hours from now, Drew, I'm just going to pour the entire pot of coffee on my face.
I think that would be a lovely idea, as long as you take video so we can all see that happening. Kenny Weeb asked Blake Wheeler post-game, what did you think of the atmosphere? Wheeler responded, it was fine. 5,000 people, man. It was all right. Somebody followed up with a question. The follow-up question was, did it remind you of a college hockey atmosphere, Wheeler? And you can sort of feel the answer coming through your Twitter feed when he says it. Said, I played in front of 10 at the University of Minnesota.
Definitely a little go for pride from Blake Wheeler.
That's a little bit of good shade.
Well, the funniest part of that question and answer is it is a college arena. So, you know what I mean? Like, so yes, it does feel like a college atmosphere because it is the home of Arizona State University.
Very true. In any event, that was some good shade thrown by Blake Wheeler, the former Winnipeg Jets captain again. And I'm sure that he's still, they say time heals all wounds. I bet you he's still got a little bit of animus towards the Coyotes organization. Like I'm sure that they do towards him. Remember, he was drafted by the Coyotes organization, refused to sign there
a decade and a half ago.
It doesn't matter. I'm sure
like
that
16 years ago, Drew.
You think Blake Wheeler as well as I do.
I hope they've moved on.
You don't think that he's still got a little bit of fuel in his fire, whatever motivation it takes?
I'm just saying it was a really long time ago.
It was a really long time.
It's like when we got into our fight, Drew. That was a really long time ago, right? When we had that
5 minutes ago during the break,
like an hour ago. What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure I blocked you via text message as a result. That's standard operating procedure for us. Unique code for the IC contest. You know how to enter the IC contest. We've talked about this many times. I'm going to put the ticker on the screen there again. So the way to do it, I'm going to explain it. You got a couple of ways to enter the IC merchandise contest. You go to the show description on our YouTube channel. For those of you who are maybe watching on your phone, you might have to X out of the chat, go to the drop down arrow. You'll see it. There's a link there. It talks about the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. The link is gleam.io is how it starts. Click that link. You'll see a whole bunch of things that you have to do or that you can do in order to gain entries into the Illegal Curve contest. Maybe you can't find it on our YouTube channel. That's okay. It happens to the best of us. Go to our website, illegalcurve.com. It's all over.
You should be going there anyways, for the record.
Of course, you should be going there everywhere. Make Dave M a happy man. Go to illegalcurve.com. Click on the morning papers. Click on the pregame report. Click on whatever basic link you want to click on that website, and you'll see a link to enter the contest. So that's how you do it. There's a whole bunch of tasks you do. The more tasks you do, the more entries you get. And of course, you watch this show, the Illegal Curve post-game show, at that 250 of you are doing at 5 after 1 in the morning, and God bless you all for doing that. And here is Dave M.
Awesome.
Why don't you say and why don't you provide what the unique code for the IC contest is tonight?
Couldn't figure it out, folks. Couldn't figure it out, but it is Kachina.
Kachina is the unique code for the IC contest.
I like it.
If you're saying what is Kachina, that is what the Coyotes jerseys are. They are described as their Kachina jerseys.
Sorry, Frosty Winnipeg, not this time.
Yeah, you tried to guess it like you did yesterday's was too obvious. Dave had to go a little bit off the board with today's unique code for the IC merchandise contest, Kachina.
See, running man's running out of here. He got the code word. He's like, I'll see you guys in the morning. That's it. I'm out. I'm bouncing.
Well, a Kachina is a spirit being in the religious beliefs of the Pueblo peoples.
Oh, thank you there, Merriam-Webster dictionary there. We appreciate that. Kachina, all one word, Kachina. Kachina is the unique code for the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. Speaking of the Illegal Curve merchandise contest, we have a winner from last night's game, of course, where the Jets defeated the Los Angeles Kings. Back-to-back jerseys given away here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. The winner, Bradley Abels. Bradley is often in the chat. We've seen him there before. Congratulations to Bradley. I think he's often all over our Twitter feed as well, if I'm not mistaken. Congratulations.
Or is it Abels? Might be Abels.
It might be Abels. He knows who won. My apologies for the mispronunciation, if I am mispronouncing it indeed. But the point is, you got the Illegal Curve. You get the jersey, the authentic Winnipeg Jets jersey, and the winner of the IC merchandise contest. Bradley, Dave will be in touch with you to make arrangements to get you that jersey. Is that right, Dave M?
I will. I will send Bradley a message, an email, if you will.
An email, a message,
and then you may get the jersey personally delivered by yours truly.
It's true. You might get a personal delivery from Dave M, depending on his schedule and how near and or far you live.
Yeah. If you're close to Elmwood or River Heights, there's a good chance I'll do it.
That's right. Yeah,
of course, I've also.
And then you'll see the Rolls Royce Phantom that Dave drives.
I was going to say I'm also willing to drive out to Carmen and various Morden. Actually, I'm not going to Morden. I did send our winner in Morden his out I think yesterday or today, so he's got his coming to him in Morden. I'm not driving out to Morden. I would though. I have been. No, I'm not.
Except for the Corn and Apple Festival.
Yeah, Corn and Apple Festival. Corn and Apple Festival at the end of August is like my favorite.
Yeah,
it's absolutely brilliant. There's nothing better than standing in line and getting those. The corn is next level good. I could eat it right now. Much.
Off the cob, on the cob.
Big thank you. Congratulations to Bradley. And again, Kachina is the unique code word for the IC merchandise. Ezzy, a Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Tell us what is the comment for tonight?
Yeah, we're gonna give it to Owen as Owen. Again, that's the Irish spelling of Owen. If I remember correctly, and maybe if Owen is still watching, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Owen won a Tough Duck 2 last year. You've got the comment up there, so let's read it, Drew. Fetty's obviously talking about Cole Perfetti here. Fetty's confidence allowed the red hot Shifes to change lines and give Doobie Connor back. It was only then that those two lines started to look like a 2-line threat. I really like that. We talked about that earlier. Cole Perfetti was really good tonight. Pierre-Luc Dubois was really good tonight. Kyle Connor, even though he didn't score a goal, was good tonight. He's probably going to score. If he doesn't score against Vegas, he's definitely going to score on the homestand. I will put the little money that I have down on that. So Owen, send me an email.
That money's going to your foundation work. You don't have that money anymore. That money's gone.
Yeah, and Ruben's bar mitzvah fund, and I guess Ariela's bat mitzvah fund. But Owen is Owen. Send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, or slide into my DMs, ICSEG, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you. Yeah, I remember. See, Owen saying correct. I remember Owen got a toque, so you're going to get another one. I think this one might be a different color. So they're great toques. Tough Duck has an entire. They're a big company. They make a lot of stuff: jackets, pants, shirts, everything like that. Everything they make is great. But those toques will keep your head toasty warm. So send me an email and we'll ship out another one to you.
Big congratulations to Owen as Owen, and big thank you to, of course, our friends at Tough Duck for sponsoring the hardest hitting comment contest, and big thanks, of course, to our friends at Betway for being the title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show. We want to say a big thank you to all the sponsors of Illegal Curve. They make this show. They make they make this morning's Illegal Curve hockey show a possibility. They make the website a possibility as well. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. His last night in town is tonight, Saturday. Daryl Lennox, 2 shows, one of my personal favorites. Great guy Daryl is. If you haven't had the opportunity to check him out, go do so. Tickets available, rumorscomedyclub.com. Linden Market Dental Center. Dr. Les Reich is over there at Linden Market Dental Center, always doing a great job turning Ezzy's yow into wow. Zappia Group Realty. That's our boys, Frank and
I got to
Mauro
do something about
Zappia.
the space in my teeth, though, right, Drew?
That's one thing at a time, Ezzy. One thing at a time. Betway, as I mentioned, Tough Talk, of course, our friends at Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer. They did a great job moving Dave's parents, so they can help you if you need any moving needs as well. Check them out at Rolly's Transfer. Our friends at Grid Park. Be sure to download the Grid Park app. Get your first park for free with code word illegal curve, all one word. And of course, our friends at the Keg, where if you need a great night out and a great meal, they are certainly there for you. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of illegal curve hockey.
And just as a quick thing, Drew, just for folks who are listening, download the Grid Park app. You may as well just give it like you may as well just download it, see what it's like, because there's lots of options. It doesn't have to be
it's just a cool app. It's definitely a cool app, and it's worth checking out because you get your first park free.
Yeah, so I would just advocate that if people can, go check out the app and give it a download. Tell them Illegal Curve sent you.
Dave, before we wrap up tonight, where's Illegal Curve going to be next Saturday? Exactly 7 days from today. Where are we going to be live on location, showing off our handsome faces for any victims who come by?
We are going to be, we're going to be handing out some great swag. So I think it'll be offset. Anything, the horror that they have to deal with, even though Halloween will have already be over, will be offset by all the great stuff we're going to be giving away. But we will be at the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show November 5th and 6th. We will only be there November 5th. I may go November 6th as a citizen, but we will be doing the Illegal Curve Hockey Show live there at Red River X Place on November 5th. And it's just going to be a great display of everything that is related to ice fishing. If you can think it, it will be there. There's going to be great speakers. There's going to be contests. It's $10 for adults at the door. Kids 12 and under are free. Everything you can imagine that's, like I said, associated with ice fishing is going to be there. They're going to have huts. They're going to have lures. They're going to have all the latest equipment. So come on out to the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show at the Red River X Place, November 5th and 6th. Come meet Illegal Curve. We can chit chat about hockey and we can chit chat about fishing. It's the best of both worlds.
Something to look forward to.
Is it true that Drew's going to be using an auger?
Well, I mean, we can see if we can get Drew an auger.
I don't know how to use an auger, but sure. I mean, why not? It sounds like a fun for the whole family.
We're going to be at the ice fishing show. There's going to be lots. It's going to be like Mullet Arena, guys. There's going to be lots of new, unique experiences for us.
Well, it was a unique experience for the Winnipeg Jets, winning in that building for the first time ever. Of course, the first NHL game being played in that building, a 3-2 Jets victory, giving the Jets 3 wins in a row as they head out to Vegas on Sunday, where, of course, the Illegal Curve post-game show will be around 9:45. But long before that, in about 7 hours and 45 minutes, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Then the people to Kenny and Reddy, Drew. Come on,
let's go. Here on our YouTube channel.
I don't even think I'm going to sleep. Like, why bother even sleeping? I'm too excited.
I've still got at least another hour or an hour and a half of work to do.
Let's just roll this into the Saturday show, Dave.
Let's just keep rolling here.
We need sleep.
If you need more hockey, if you need more post-game analysis, Kenny and Rennie.
It's actually not Kenny though. It's Scotty Billick.
Rennie and Scotty Billick are giving some analysis over there, so you can
Rennie and Billy.
In the meantime, until a few hours from now, Dave Manouk's in the top right, Ezra Ginsburg's in the bottom middle. I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show. We wish you good night and good luck.